From NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The clock's ticking on legislation that averts a partial government shutdown next week. This hour, the Senate's debating the stopgap spending bill. And by the weekend, Democrats intend to advance that bill without the controversial provision House Republicans want, which is to defund the Affordable Care Act. But there's likely to be very little time for the House to act before the start of the new fiscal year. Democrats and a number of Republicans blame that in part on Ted Cruz, the Tea Party-backed Republican from Texas. He wrapped up a 21-hour-long talkathon that critics from both sides of the aisle called a waste of time. But NPR's Tamara Keefe says Cruz sees it differently.
I think that he accomplished what he set out to accomplish. There was no way, given Senate procedure, that he would actually delay this vote. But what he did accomplish was to get more attention to his concerns with the health care law and, frankly, to get more attention to himself. He is discussed as a possible 2016 presidential candidate.
That's NPR's Tamara Keefe. The administration, meanwhile, is stepping up efforts to promote the health care law. It says insurance premiums in the 36 states where exchanges begin next week will be lower than expected. NPR's Julie Rovner points to a new study that finds a vast majority of those without insurance live in states where premiums will cost less than projected.
Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius told reporters the lower-than-expected premiums mean that affordable coverage will be available to more people who need it. Officials said one reason for the lower-than-expected premiums was that more companies decided to offer coverage, which boosted competition and will increase choices. A few states, however, and some areas within states will still only be served by one or two companies, and some people will pay more than they do now. Julie Rovner, NPR News, Washington.
Now turning to Egypt, where security forces have shut down the headquarters of the Muslim Brotherhood's newspaper in Cairo. NPR's Leila Fadl reports this comes 2 days after a court ruling that banned the Islamist group.
A statement from the Freedom and Justice newspaper said the security forces raided overnight and confiscated equipment. The statement called on human rights groups to intervene to protect its journalists. The raid came after a court ruling that banned the Muslim Brotherhood and any organization that it founded or finances. It also froze the assets of the Muslim Brotherhood and called for a committee to be appointed to manage the money. Since the army overthrew Mohamed Morsi in July, hundreds of Brotherhood members have been arrested. Much of the leadership is in jail, and the journalists for the newspaper were working in secret for their own safety. Leila Fadl, NPR News, Cairo.
At last check on Wall Street, Dow was down 47 points at 15,288. From Washington, this is NPR News. The results are in from this special primary election in Southwest Alabama's 1st Congressional District. For member station WBHM, Sarah D'Elia has the details.
9 Republicans and 2 Democrats sought their party's nominations to replace Joe Bonner of the GOP, who left Congress for a job at the University of Alabama. On the Republican side, former 2-year college chancellor Bradley Byrne received the most votes. Orange Beach businessman Dean Young finished second. The two will meet again for a runoff election in November. Democrat Burton LaFleur will face the winner in December. The special primary election caught the eye of some notable political figures. Rick Santorum and Paul Ryan both voiced support for candidates who are no longer in the running. For NPR News, I'm Sarah D'Elia in Birmingham.
In California, workers will get their first minimum wage increase in 6 years. Governor Jerry Brown signed a bill today that raises the hourly minimum wage from $8 to $10. The increase is due to take effect incrementally within 3 years. The budget showdown in Washington, D.C. casts more doubt on legislation to help the financially strapped U.S. Postal Service. In a bid to survive billions of dollars in annual losses, the agency says it wants to again raise the price of mailing a letter, wants a 3-cent hike to 49 cents for a first-class stamp. U.S. stocks have been trading lower, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 47 points at 15,289. NASDAQ is off 4 points at 37.65. S&P 500 down 2 at 16.95. I'm Lakshmi Singh, NPR News.